And welcome back to another episode of Cafe Lily, with your hosts, Rosa and Kelsey. Kelsey and Rosa.
Hey Rosa, it's good to be back in the cafe.
Of course, of course. It's nice to come back here, smell the brews.
Yeah, we will have to make sure that we cook up some new brews of tea for this year. It's a new year. We're back in the cafe, but it's also good to take time to reflect on last year.
Yeah. And we'll do that by looking back at our Yuri resolution.
Yes, last year we set our new Yuri's resolutions, and we're very proud to say that we both achieved our goals.
Yay! So, I recently released the first chapter to It Girl, a horror Yuri story inspired by Mike and Melissa. Now, I'm happy to say that one of my resolutions was a story about a pretty woman and a woman that smells like dirt. And you know what? There it is. That's the story that fits that category. And I did it.
Yes, you've been threatening to do this for a long time, and those threats have finally come to reality.
I told everyone. I have many different reactions, like why and real for real. It's like no way. You gotta show me it. I did it. Here it is, and there'll be more chapters to come.
Yes, you plan to release another one this month, maybe?
I'm looking to release at least 2 chapters. That's the goal.
Okay, well, everyone better look forward to it, because I've had some insight into what's going to happen in the rest of the story, and you'll have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, like Kelsey was a huge help to like developing this story, refining it. And how about you, Kelsey? What was your New Yuri resolution?
Mine was a lot more broad than yours. I just vowed to create an original one-shot Yuri, and I accomplished that with The Bee and the Beetle.
Yes, you did. It was amazing. And when I showed it to my friends, they loved it.
Oh, really? That's really sweet.
Like I remember I was showing it to a friend, and then she said, "Oh, that's really cute."
You didn't tell me that you showed it to your friends. Oh.
But it's wonderful to see that you fulfilled your resolution as well.
Yes. Now, I have to ask, are you setting a new Yuri's resolution for this year?
Yes.
Ooh, what is it?
So, my resolution is finish It Girl so I can make sure the Can a Common Writing Girl and a Precure Girl Fall in Love comes out this year.
Oh, right, yeah, that. That's something that we've been saying we're going to make since pre-Cafe Lily, since pre-Petal on Leaf.
Yeah. And it's time we go full circle and actually do it. After doing the first chapter, It Girl, I feel confident that, like, you know what? We can do it. And now, Kelsey, what is your resolution for this year?
Okay, I'm sorry, this is terrible podcasting, but I cannot reveal what my resolution is, or else I will give the game away.
Oh, I see.
I will say that I have a plan to make a certain Yuri that, if everything goes well, it will release at some point in the first half of this year.
Oh, look forward to that, everyone. I can't wait. I love Secret Yuris.
You love secret Yuris. You love to surprise me with the secret Yuri. But now it's my turn to surprise you.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Alright, should we get down to what you've been watching while we were on our podcasting break?
I've been watching Lucky Star.
Classic.
Yeah, it is a classic. Lucky Star isn't particularly the most Yuri-focused thing ever. There is mention of Yuri, but mostly related to otaku culture and such. But I'm very well aware of, like, the fan scenes and the relationship between Kanata and Kagami. They're like a third worst thing.
Yeah, that's how you described them to me. Can you elaborate?
Of course. It's a very teasing relationship. They're always like coding at each other's throats, not angrily, but Konana loves to poke Kagami's buttons because she's just well aware that like Kagami is just so easy to how do you say, rile up. Like she's always like posting like, geez, Konana, you gotta be normal. And then Konana just ends up teasing her back and like, yeah, sure. Just finds ways to tease her. Because it's only Kagami that's always criticizing Kanada's like otaku lifestyle. Everyone else is like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Kagami, I don't know. I think there's something deeper going on there. I think she has something to work out within herself.
Oh, absolutely. It has to be. She's always looking up for Kanada. She's always telling her, Kanada, you gotta sleep better. You gotta work on your homework better. You're not gonna learn. She's like, in a way, always been looking up for Kanada. But this could be just her being responsible and whatnot. But who knows?
This is only tangentially related. Have you watched K-On?
I have. Seen the first season of K-On! And I thought it was gay. Yeah. I don't see myself going back to it. It's... I wouldn't say it has a lot going on for me. But I'm very well aware of the fact that, like, there is, like, Yuri between, like, what's her name? Mio and Ritsu, and then, like, Yui and the fifth member that joins in the second year. And then, like, Sumuke is, like, some sort of Himiyoshi. I don't know, it's like, no. Nah, I'm not interested. Butcher the Rock came out, I'll watch that. Sorry.
I don't know, I guess Lucky Star and K-On! Sort of occupy the same space in my mind when it comes to anime.
They're kind of both, like, pretty chill animes. But I think there's, like, a bit more going on in, like, K-On! While Lucky Star is more about its conversations.
You're gonna have to make a blog post about it.
Yeah, when I finish that website. Do you see, was there any year aspect that you thought was notable in Lucky Star?
My memory of Lucky Star is pretty fuzzy because I watched it when I was in year 5, so I would have been, I don't know, 11 or 12.
Yeah, you said you got it from, like, you watched it through a bootleg DVD.
Yeah, you could never get away with this nowadays, but back then there was a shop in the city that sold those bootleg anime DVDs with fan subs on them, and it was like the whole show on one DVD.
Yeah. I mean, technically they're still around, because I had a friend who did, like, fan sub for, like, an anime, and they found out that apparently someone used it to make a bootleg DVD.
Yeah, those DVDs are still around. You can get them for pre-cure even. I've seen them online, but you just could not get away with selling those in the city anymore because people are too aware of wanting to buy genuine merchandise these days. But yeah, I found one of those for Lucky Star when I was a kid, and I feel like there aren't a lot of anime that look like that. It's it's kind of Sanrio adjacent, so I was really drawn to it as a kid.
Yeah, they're very squishy and soft.
Yeah, it's a very cute kind of marshmallowy art style, and of course I was drawn to that as an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it went over my head at that age. I don't think I understood what they were talking about most of the time, but I did enjoy the sense of them being just a friend group who hangs out and talks to each other.
Yeah, it's very charming. Just like listening in, it's kind of, it what makes it easier to watch. I really enjoy listening to it through the dub because they do a pretty good job, but they also have like some funny quirks going on. Like the character Patricia has such a weird voice. Like it's clear she's doing like, yeah, I'm gonna be mean here. She sounds like a VTuber.
Oh.
She sounds like an English VTuber. They're just VTubers that like do a voice, but they sound like Tommy Pickle. And that's even funnier knowing that like for like extras or background characters in the backgrounds, it's just like one guy voicing them. Like he'll be either voicing like a random student or a random local. It's funny.
Yeah, you said it's all available on YouTube, didn't you?
Yes, the whole 24 episodes. No, it doesn't have any subtitles. It has the other one, and someone like translation for like the books and posters and stuff aren't there. So it's like not very definitive, but it is a good way to like watch it easily.
Okay, so what kind of Yuri fan would you recommend Lucky Star to?
It's not one I would recommend to your Yuri fan because it's so light on it, and it's just something you're just like not gonna eat well from.
So you want to recommend it to the kind of Yuri fan who makes their own fun?
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Like if someone asks, "Is this Yuri?" It's like, no. It's like, can I have fun with it as a Yuri? It's like, if you want. Yeah, because I'm mostly just looking to like recommend like actual Yuri. So have fun with that, people.
Okay, but your next point is also not an actual Yuri, as far as I'm concerned.
But it's also Toho. So like regardless, there's something for everyone. It's like the main series is not Yuri, but there's plenty of Yuri content in Toho.
Oh, of course.
And I say that because I was delving into a bit of Toho Yuri recently.
Well, what kind of Toho Yuri?
Well, this is for a yokai named Mystia. I started playing the Mystia Izakyu game, where it's basically a diner sim game where you get materials for a restaurant and serve it to the customers. They cook and make sure to get the right orders and such. And of course, since it's Mystia, she's always companioned by another yokai named Yoko, the little dog with the green hair. I think you've seen her like the little remember type post. No, that was like Yuka, but I think Yoko had one too. Or anyway, I digress. I was very like, oh, has anyone made like Yuri based on their relationship? So I look at Dynasty Reader because where else are you gonna look? And there wasn't a lot there. I ended up just finding myself into a different rabbit hole where it's like, oh, there's Yuri between Alice and Misty. And it's like, oh, let me read that. And I ended up in like enjoying that. So like, that's how it is.
That seems like a very obscure pairing.
It is. So let me pull up the title from my Dynasty Reader list. That's right, I made a Dynasty Reader account.
Everyone go and follow Rosa's Dynasty Reader account to get recommendations on Yuri.
Of course. It's called Flood Rosa 64. So, it's from a Yuri called Plastic Songs, and it's by Canary and Swallow. Now, it's about how Alice finds Mystia caught in a bear trap, wondering how did a yokai get so caught easily. She finds out that that bear trap had a yokai charm, or a charm that's supposed to like suppress like yokais and such. So she takes her in to take care of her, help her heal. And it's such a funny read because the first few moments, Missy is like some sort of sad, sick animal. But it's also noted that like most of the yokais are like part animal, so of course that makes sense. But it's like super sweet to see like them having cute little interactions, like Ella's just being so nice to her, helping her heal, treat her wounds and such, even cooking for her. And then Marissa comes in, and then she sees Mystia, and she's like, oh, I see what's going on. Have fun, Alice. It's really funny, because then, like, after Mystia healed, like, oh, hey, you mentioned, like, a little festival nearby. Let's go together. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. So they go over, and Mystia sits with Marissa, who's drunk, and tells her, oh, so you like Alice? Don't worry, I know. Just go for it. I'll help you out. Come on, come on. She's like being like the best wingman ever at that moment. Like she also got Missy a drunk to help encourage her. It's like this. Alice looks at her like, "Is this your doing? You let her drink that?" And Missy starts confessing to Alice and thanking her. And like they're kind of like a pair.
Oh, cute.
So yeah, it's really cute. So again, and I recommend it. It's called Plastic Song. It has about 2 volumes.
That's an unexpected pairing.
An unexpected pairing, but I'm happy to jump down this rabbit hole. And now it's on my Cafe Lily's recommendations, along with other Yuri I recommend. Hold on, did Love Bullet work? Wait a minute, there's a volume 2! Volume 2 of Love Bullet!
We would have such luck.
Good news, everyone. Love Bullet hasn't updated. They updated a Dynasty reader.
Okay, well, we have to hurry up and end this episode so we can go read it.
Alright. Now, Kelsey, you read a book.
Yes, I have a book that is also not Yuri. We're a little bit short of Yuri on this episode, which is not a good way to enter the year, but we'll make it up next time.
Yeah, of course, with Love Bullet.
Of course. I read a book that is related to a book I discussed on a previous episode of Café Lily, so I thought I'd mention it here. I was very kindly gifted by my friends Notes from an Island, which is the memoir of Tove Jansson and her partner.
Oh, the creator of Moomin, right?
Yes, the creator of Moomin.
Ooh.
I really enjoyed reading this, and I think a lot of that is down to the fact that before giving it to me, my friend Alex went through it and highlighted passages that they found interesting and that they thought I would find interesting, which just made the experience of reading it twice as fun. So thank you, Alex. It's very engaging for what it is, which is basically just a very matter-of-fact account of Tove and Tuulikki building a cabin on a deserted island and then living there.
Oh, nice. That's like so matter of fact. How can you do that?
That's just what they did. They found an island that no one lived on. They wanted to build a cabin there, so they did. And then they spent some time there. And it's just exactly what it says. Notes from an island. It's about what happened, but it's very engaging. And I really enjoyed reading about 2 women making a life together. And in between the writings from Tove, there are also some illustrations from Tuulikki, who was also an artist, and those are lovely, and it's overall just really great to see.
And what were like some of the highlights your friends were speaking about?
There's a little drama that happens where Tove's mum's cat goes missing. She comes to stay on the island and brings her cat with her, and then the cat just wanders off.
Oh my god.
And then they find it a couple of days later.
Oh, I'm glad it's okay.
And, something that Alex highlighted was 12th of May. The damned cat has forgiven us, and all I can say is ha ha. And there's a really good essay at the end from Tove that was originally published separately from the book, but it's included in this edition. And one of the notes that Alex underlined was something that Tove was describing as being life on the island, and it says, "You are your own companion who seldom talks and never asks questions, a person you can live with." And that's an incredible sentence. I just love that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, learning to live basically alone and in nature like that. That sounds incredible. And it is interesting to read this having read Fair Play, which I mentioned briefly on the episode where Lou was a guest. Even though I knew that Fair Play is inspired by Tove Jansson's life, reading this memoir, I now feel like I have a much better understanding of specifically which parts of her life inspired that book. And Alex tells me that one of her other books, the Summer Book, also features characters that are very clearly inspired by people who appear in Notes from an Island. So I'm excited to read that. And I recommend Notes from an Island to anyone who's interested in reading a real life story.
Not Yuri.
Not Yuri. I don't know if it's respectful to call a memoir Yuri.
I mean, we do talk about Yuri, but we also like to talk about the experience of people.
Yeah, it's important to have a balance. You gotta have fiction and reality. Well, with that done, you had something you wanted to sneak in at the end, didn't you?
Yes, I do. So, recently, I've been able to obtain all copies of Last Gender When We Are Nameless by Taki. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, readers. It is an 18 plus book, and there is, on top of being a bit explicit, there is like mentions of bigotry and examples of bigotry in language used. Even within the book, with that warning, it even explicitly adds in like a health line for it.
So what are your thoughts so far?
So I already finished the first volume, and it is very straightforward about what it's saying and what it's talking about. It feels like it's has a frustrated tone about like bigotry grips on society and how it ends up like affecting the way we live. It takes place at a bar that is hidden away, and when we first see it, we follow a woman who enters in to figure out why her husband was coming there. She found his membership card and everything, and as she goes in, she decides to mingle a bit to understand, make herself her own membership card. Now, at first glance, it's stated that this sport is for people to come in free of judgment, and as she goes through, she speaks to a woman who she's referred to as Ran, and she talks about her relation with her husband in her life. The woman is a lesbian this whole time, but she was having trouble to express that feeling. She felt the societal pressure of having to get married, that she was getting too old and she needed to marry because no one would take her seriously. Her mother would be saying things like, "Oh, you should be being married, having kids," and then saying something as awful as, "Oh my goodness, you heard about those LGBT whatevers?" And I'm so glad you're not like that, right? And it's very straightforward about like the bigotry that comes about from people, what they just say randomly, how no one takes you seriously. It's crazy, and it's honestly frustrated at it. And that's how it feels throughout the at least the tone of the book is like, in part, it talks about the frustration, and it's just like not for just one sexuality, but for mainly several different sexualities, gender expressions, and such. And it covers like a wide range of things. You get a transgender woman who is bisexual, who feels like an object, who's treated like an object, who's had to keep her defense up. A cis man who is pansexual, he has to deal with the fact that his parents didn't take his sexuality seriously, that he's confused. And on top of like a salaryman who is bigender, who comes to this bar to dress femininely and everything. And it's amazing and wonderful to have like such a different wide variety of like different preferences for romance and sexuality.
That does sound like an interesting setup. I'd be curious to see where it goes, and to have the kind of story that explores these kinds of characters in depth.
Yeah. It's mostly about like exploring many different people that comes into the bar. At least that we got from the impression of the first chapter. We are giving a main character to follow a bit. There's the bartender Yo who works there, and we're slowly getting insight about what her deal is. Like, she was the one who's running this place, who made this place to help others. And this kind of hinted there may be more to that, but that's what I've yet to see. She's in the cover for a lot of these books. Well, for the whole 3 books. I enjoy reading this manga. I recommend it. I wholeheartedly recommend it. Just with the caveats, like, this is 18 plus. It's explicit here and there, and of course, they do use a lot of terms of bigotry.
Yeah, that sounds like interesting if you're looking for a more serious read.
Yeah, and also it's another instance where I see X-gender be brought up within a manga. They also have a page where like they explain some of like the terminology, like the sexualities and such.
Yeah, that's good.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, that kind of terminology does differ a little bit between Japanese and English, and there are different preferences across cultures. Okay, I'm curious now. I definitely want to give this one a read.
Definitely. I recommend it for anyone who's over the age of 18 and can handle the serious topic inside. Anyway, thank you all for joining.
Remember, if you have any Yuri recommendations, leave them for us in the comments or in the Cafe Lily channel in the Startcast Discord.
Of course. Look forward to it. Who knows? We might get a guest one of these days.
One of these days.
Who knows? We'll see. Thank you all for joining.
See you next Yuri.
Bye bye.